Can soaking your hands in magnesium be as efficient as soaking your feet? The answer is yes and no. So we know that your feet, when you're soaking in magnesium, that your feet do the work and uptake. We did thermal imaging and watched the efficiency of magnesium while people were in the bathtub and magnesium while people were in a foot soak, and then did lots of testing on those people to determine if the bathers and the foot soakers were getting the same benefits and moving their red blood cell numbers. And your feet are what do the work. Now, soft tissue areas definitely increase your magnesium levels. So, for example, and I am trying to do two things at once here. How is my audio? Is it okay? My dog wanted Mr. Louie, you've probably seen him before. He wanted a walk. And so I'm trying a little bit different camera gear. And I realize this is right when everybody's getting off work. So, not the greatest time. So, is my audio okay? Oh, Beth, thank you so very much. I wasn't sure if this would work or not. The mic that works really well outside, I forgot to charge. Okay, so um walking. Oh my gosh, I've got the puppy on my brain. So thank you, Pam. So we know that soft tissue areas. So for example, if you're using iodine, we know that soft tissue areas are the best to put that iodine. Or if you're using progesterone cream or oil, soft tissue areas under your arm, inside of thighs, bottom of feet, tummy, those are the best places for absorption under your arm on your lymph. Those are the best places. Hey, do you want to go this way? Let's walk this way. Those are the best places. No, you can't go out on the road. Okay, he's kind of forgotten what to do when cars go around. So I need to be exposing him to more things. So those are the best places on your and bottom of feet. Those are the best places for maximum. Oh, please tell me I'm not going to go into a coughing fest. I should have brought water too. Hold on. That felt like 5 minutes. If that happens again, we're going to cut the live. I'm so sorry about that. So it must sound horrible on the microphone. I did figure out how to like mute it for a second. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, I'm going to calm down and breathe. We've just still got that lingering from when we got sick. Okay, here we go. I got stressed out a little bit, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm on a live coughing. How horrific. So I'm just going to breathe, relax my throat, do a little bit of tapping, balance my nervous system. Oh, okay. So soft tissue areas absorb better than like your kneecap or your elbow. Hands have vascular also, so they also uptake. So a lot of times people in the bathtub will think they're getting more magnesium than those who just have their feet in the water. But through testing, we found it to be so comparable amongst a large group of people that it just didn't matter if you did a bathtub or a soak. Now, today I had someone reach out. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That was like, I'm like, I'm on a live and hacking and coughing. That's not good. So thank you. Oh, and Mr. Lou, I wish I could flip the camera so you could see him. I do an exercise walk with him, and then I do a sniff walk. And this is his sniff walk. So he can just sniff, sniff, sniff. And it's his favorite. He loves it. I wish I could flip the camera so you could see him. He's a happy boy. Okay, so thank you for being patient with me while my imperfect action on a live. So we found that it was the feet. It's the feet that do the major work of pumping up. Today I had a lady write in and she said, my mom's an amputee. Well, my heart went out to her because many of you know this, but some of you may not. My husband's a double amputee. And we have had the hardest time keeping his magnesium levels up because he doesn't have feet anymore. The pumping of his feet is not there. And so we've had to do let me get back in better light. We've had to do two things. And that is one of them, in the bathtub, he always soaks in magnesium. Every single time that he's in the bathtub, he has magnesium. We're finding he is having to work 4 times harder to get his magnesium levels up. And then he also soaks his hands. But through testing, now remember, usually and let me give my disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just sharing things with you that I've learned that have helped me recover my health. And you run anything you do by your board of directors and your medical team. We're just having a conversation and so that we're asking better questions. So it takes us about 4 times as much soaking to keep his levels up as what it did before. And so she said to me, can I just have her soak her hands? And absolutely, your hands will uptake magnesium. Absolutely. Do you want to come over here, Mr. Lou? Come on. Your hands will uptake magnesium, but not like your feet. Not like your feet do. Now, in that situation where she also is an amputee, then she's having to go to plan B, and she'll probably need to soak. Hi, neighbors are coming home from work. She'll probably need to soak, and she will need to in the bathtub, and she'll need to soak her hands. But this is where it's so important. Now, and you've got to filter this to your own situation. And it's really good to practice this muscle. And this probably is not your situation, but you can learn the pattern. You have to filter it to your situation. She has to have realistic expectations. If she does not have realistic expectations that it is going to take longer, then she's actually increasing her magnesium burn rate instead of bringing on all of that good magnesium into her body. Because if we expected the magnesium to move in my husband's body like it did before amputation, we're setting ourselves up for failure. Oh, dude, no. Oh, good boy. Nice. Nice. He's, he's forgotten how to act around cars. And so you probably don't have to worry about amputation. That's a more unique of a situation. But you can ask yourself, where am I setting myself up for failure? Where am I setting my expectations too high? So, for example, yesterday I was talking to a family member who shall remain unnamed for their privacy, and they were resting. They were just kicked back on their couch, and I could tell. And I said, "Oh, are you enjoying your rest?" And the comment was, "Oh my gosh, I've got so much to do." Wait. Let's pull that apart. You're resting, but while you're laying there resting, you're beating yourself up that you're not being productive. We've got a broken belief there. And so it's so important that we're watching those patterns. And so many times we want to go to, oh, tell me what supplement I can take to keep my magnesium levels, or oh, tell me, what I need to be doing. Well, it's that inner work again. It's that inner work. When you're giving yourself, like during the day, I give myself little paint breaks because I love to paint. And so I've been working with gouache lately, and if I'm sitting there, and it's supposed to be my renewal time, if I'm sitting there working with gouache and I am like, oh my gosh, Kristen, you should not be working on this. You've got other things to do. There's emails that came in. You've got to answer the text that came in right away so that there's good customer service. If I was doing that during my gouache time and learning about my gouache and learning some new techniques, I'm not really getting that renewal because of my inner dialogue. A positive moment with Michelle, beating myself up, pro at that, but I'm slowly getting past it. I love that because if you haven't recognized it, how can you get past it? So that's brilliant that you're noticing it. And sometimes, oh, Mr. Lou, he is done. He is just done. I kind of brought him to a little boring spot because there was just more traffic. So come on, Mr. Lou. Okay, I don't know if I think maybe I can get a waist. I saw a waist leash that I can put it around my waist so that I can have both hands free. I saw it on a social media ad. I'm going to see if I can find it because that way I can walk him and you and I can talk. So, we've really got to watch that because you may think, oh, I took two nice little refreshing rests today and really did some good breathing and put my feet up. But did you mentally rest? Because mental pushes magnesium out of your body. That's how strong you are. That's how powerful you are. Your mental, come on, Mr. Lou. Oh, come on, come on. I know. We'll get to a funner place. We'll go up here where you like this little spot up here. Mental can push your magnesium out, your thoughts. And so, for example, sometimes I will have somebody that will do the 30-day challenge the second time, and their magnesium will actually be lower because they're so frustrated with the process. And so, come on, Mr. Lou. And so, oh, look, here we go up here by the bench. Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay, now he knows we're to his favorite spot. And so, your mental, we've got to do the inner work. So that's where I like to call it a magnesium mindset. Oh, Mr. Lou, there's a turkey. Here it comes. We have wild turkeys. How crazy is that? Who thought when you live by the ocean you have wild turkeys? But your mental, you've really got to keep an eye on that. And sometimes we can not recognize the power of our words. Like one of the things that I really have to watch is I will say, and here goes, I will say, oh, I'm so tired at the end of the day. Well, I'm acting all surprised after I've exercised and played and worked and connected with my husband and walked the beach. I'm acting all surprised that I'm tired. I'm supposed to be winding down at the end of the day. And so, with that thought, I'm creating a gap, right? And in that gap, I'm pushing my magnesium up. And so, one of the things that I'm choosing to reword and really watch my words is to say something like, I am ready to let my body rest tonight, instead of saying, oh, I'm so tired. And it was my husband who noticed that. And he said, Kristen, you're always saying how powerful words are. Are you watching yours? And that's one I really have to stay on top of. And so I'm saying it in a way that I'm still being real because I am ready to rest, but my body's supposed to be. It's an hour before I go to bed, and I've had a big full day doing all the things I want to do. So, do you see how those expectations can create that gap? And it's so important that we close those gaps. It always reminds me when I say close the gap when you're in Europe and you go into the underground, and there's always that English voice that says, mind the gap. And it's a little space. Anyway, it reminds me of that. So the other thing is she was really wanting to make sure that she was putting the things in her magnesium water and wanting to do it perfectly. Right there, I could tell she's got an inner dialogue of perfectionism. And perfectionism is always connected to shame, which is always connected to the power of your voice. Because perfectionism is someone not using their voice and suppressing it. And so that rage is internal. And so she was just wanting to make sure it was perfect. Now, there are better ways to do things than how she was doing it. And we talked through that. But her militant, I recognized this soaking in magnesium may stress her out more than it can benefit her. And I always wonder, like, how much do I talk to someone I don't even really know? Like, what's appropriate? Do I share those thoughts? And she ended up asking a question. And so I was able to share those thoughts, and it ended up being a beautiful conversation. So here's my take on it, though, that I want to share with you. If you're wondering, what can I put in my magnesium to optimize my soaking time? Here's what I would, first of all, focus on hydration. Hydration, hydration, hydration. Magnesium moves through a hydrated body. Second, I would focus on a little bit of lymph movement. So, for example, I do my rebounder, just like maybe 10 or 15 little health bounces on my rebounder. If you don't have a rebounder, this is going to look awful on camera. If you don't have a rebounder, just bounce the back of your heels, bounce them. Your feet don't come off, just your heels, and just kind of put your heels, and that gets your lymphatic moving, because that's what your magnesium works through. Um, oh, Jaya, you're so kind. Yeah, we do need to communicate with each other about it, don't we? And I always wonder, like, I want to have good boundaries, and just because I noticed that with her did not mean it was appropriate for me to bring it up to her. And we have to remember, when we notice it in other people, it's only because we have that pattern that we're playing ourselves, that we haven't taken accountability for it. And we have two choices when that happens. We can project on the other person, or we can have gratitude for that person reminding us where we need to do our inner work. And I think that's where a lot of people walk away from accountability of doing the inner work, because it's a lot easier to point it out in someone else. And anytime that I'm in, I don't know, I hate the word coaching. I just hate that. I don't like that word. Anytime I'm in a situation with a client, I always make sure afterwards that I remind myself, because their appointment time isn't my time to do the inner work. But I always leave myself enough time so that I am recognizing that those patterns that I saw in them are patterns that need focus in me. And I always make sure I spend some time in gratitude after that appointment, because they're literally putting light on what I'm ready to see and to work on and to let go of, so that I can show up for people as the best version of myself, and as because when we're standing in that place of power and we're connected to our voice, that's when we're changing the world. That's when we're creating better spaces for ourselves and for those people that we love. So let's see, we talked about There was one more thing I wanted to bring up today. I got a little sidetracked doing the walk for Louie too. I'll get better set up so I can bring Louie on the walks. I think, has anybody ever used a waist leash that it just goes around my waist and then my hands are free? I think that'll be better. Um oh, grateful for the moment of realization of recognition, the two R's. I love that. The realization of recognition. And but here's the most important thing, because I had somebody I was working with yesterday. So it was a situation where they're paying me to tell them those things, and she was a junkie. Let's finish up on this. Oh, I love this topic. I can't remember what the other topic was that I wanted to talk about, but I love this topic. So you tell me what you think of it. So she's been working for a long time on creating help, and she just felt like she wasn't getting the benefit. And as she was talking, I realized, only because I had done that, remember, I realized one thing that was holding her back. And I said, "You're addicted to easy dopamine, easy dopamine. And we need to be getting dopamine that we've worked for." And she looked at me and she said, "I'm a hard worker." And I said, "Not for your dopamine, you're not." And so I then needed to explain to her that didn't make sense to her. So let me explain my perspective, where I'm coming from. And that is when, oh, there's some fun places you can look at, Mr. Lou. That is when you're scrolling social media, boom, 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 you get a little dopamine hit, right? That beautiful image, the book you want to read, that recipe that, oh my gosh, I'm going to do that recipe, or oh, that looks so good. Or maybe it's a feel good post. Like, for example, maybe it's, oh, I remember one I saw not too long ago, and it was this guy who uses tires to make shoes for kids in countries that none of the kids have shoes. Like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I got a little dopamine hit from that. I did nothing to work for that. I was not a part of creating shoes for children. I moved my thumb. That's all I did. That's a lazy dopamine hit. It's lazy, and you become a junkie. And here's the other thing, learning about health is a lazy dopamine hit. We can learn and learn and learn and learn, and we can make those connections and light up like, oh my gosh, yes, that's me. And then we go on to the next thing to learn for more easy dopamine. I have to really watch this one because I love the process of learning. I love it. Love it so much. Oh, I never thought of this thing too, but I just did a little bit. So we have to make sure action. In fact, one of my mantras in my Core 7 group was action over research. If you ever have the option to choose whether you're going to learn about something new or take action, you choose action every time. You choose action every single time. Research doesn't get you healthy, but you'll get dopamine hits from it, and you'll get that little bit of feel good, and it's a muffler. Oh my gosh. You'll get that little bit of feel good, and you'll get that momentary easy fix of dopamine. It's like a quick hit drug, it's an easy fix, and it's addictive. It's so addictive. And so if you're someone who does lots of reading and lots of research about health, here's what I tell people to do to try and see what happens. Don't read any more self-help or health books. Give yourself 3 months that you're not researching anything on social media, you're not reading, not anything. Make sure you stay connected to people who are focusing on health. You are implementing, and you can pick your own time period. If you want a week, if you want a day, whatever, you pick your own time period. But a lot of people will go through withdrawal because they're used to that easy dopamine hit. Get in a good fiction book, or read some beautiful poetry, or read, I don't know, a book about history, or read, I don't know, there's so many different things that you can read and fill a different part of your brain instead of constantly learning about what you need to do to be healthy. Another thing that I've noticed is a lot of women who have the belief that they have to work hard to get anything, like that it can't just come to them, which, by the way, is a very broken feminine belief. Because if you're standing in the power of femininity, things just come to you and they're easy. Resources come to you, money comes to you, support comes to you, gifts come to you, friendship comes to you. That's feminine energy. It just flows to you and it just comes like this. I don't know if you can see my arms. It just comes like this. And so if you think you have to work for it, you're operating in your parents' paradigm, not ours currently. So it would be like me showing up with, remember that blue eyeshadow we used to wear that we thought was so fabulous? It would be like me showing up to a really fancy party in that blue eyeshadow that's pretty dated. Your belief system is dated, typically, not always. I'm not saying across the board, because you and I haven't, gone deep on this together. But typically, your belief system, you're operating out of your parents' paradigm, and it's a different world. The monetary system is different, energy moves differently, jobs are, everything's different. And so it's like you're in a different country trying to make something work that will never work in that energetic space. And so the is what it's doing is, if they have that belief system that they have to work for everything, work hard and then they deserve it. The word deserve, watch and listen how often you say the word deserve. Because if you're saying that word a lot, you may be in this belief system, and you don't have to do anything to deserve being healthy at all. Nothing has to be done for you to deserve it. And so really watch that word, because it's your subconscious keeping you on that easy dopamine hit and keeping you with what you believe, that you have to work hard to be healthy. So therefore, you're always going to be working hard to be healthy instead of creating the optimal health that you wanted to. And so with that, we are ending with magnesium. And have you created gaps today in your thinking, in your mental thinking, that you leaked your magnesium? I don't know. Are you willing to do the inner work and create a magnesium mindset? Or you might be that person, you're like, lady, I don't want to talk about all this stuff. I just want I just absolutely want to just put my feet in the magnesium soak and get some relaxation. And that's great too. There are two pathways for magnesium, and both pathways are awesome. They're very different. Some people just want to soak, get the benefit, move on. Other people want to really dig in and do the inner work and keep their magnesium burn rate low, so that their magnesium levels naturally stay high so they don't have to soak as much. It's your job to choose which pathway is best for you. Make your decision, and make your decision strongly, because that's what healthy women do who hold on to their magnesium levels. I am now going to go take Mr. Lou, finish up his walk. He's sitting again in the rocks, a little bit disgusted, and I'm going to be researching waist chains, or not waist chains, waist leashes for dog walking, because this was kind of hard to hold everything with one hand and hold on to his leash. So maybe the next time we'll have a little bit better setup. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.